Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Happy Friday and happy start of the weekend. Today, for the weekend, we're going to be doing pack 2 of the Agora Models release, a build, the Corvette Stingray. Stages. We're going to be doing 10 stages today, and it's all about creating the engine. Right at the end of this, we're going to be doing a little bit of the brake hub and suspension. And as you can see, I've got a huge pile of stuff here, so I think we're in for the long haul on this one. I reckon we're going to have quite a fiddly little pack, and we're also going to be spending quite a bit of time on it. No idea how long this is going to take, but I'll let you know the recording time at the end of this video. Now, if you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link down here to the Agora Models website. You can get this all the way from pack 1. But before we start, I'll show you what we've actually done so far. As you can remember, we've already done one of the wheels here, looking like that. We had done, I believe this was the carburetor, looking like this. All metal, that is. We have got the bonnet, although we didn't really do much with that. We just put some of the vents in the front there. And that's what it looks like from behind, with these lovely spring-loaded catches there. And then finally, we did the front grille, which looks like that. But as I said, today, we're going to be starting the engine. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So, stage 6, quite a big little pack this one. We're going to be starting the oil sump. And we've also got some brackets to create as well. Get everything out of here. And the first thing we need is this left engine block. This is metal, already painted orange for us. We are going to be putting a mounting bracket on that. And that looks just like this. So it's just going to go on here. You see it lines up perfectly. Just so you know, these engine brackets are labelled as well. We've got an R on this one. Once that's on, we're going to be holding that in with a DM screw. Now we're going into metal, so I have got some oil ready for this, and I'll just screw that in from the underside here. Now we've got another bracket just to put on this side, and that bracket looks just like this here. The long end of this is going to go into that hole just like that there. This time it's held in with an EM screw. And there you go, that's that one in. And once again, in a similar way, we're going to take the right block here, putting the mount on and holding that once again with a DM screw, just from the other side. Perfect. I want to take the oil sump now. The oil sump is metal, and I want it this way round with this little nipple at the front pointing away from me. And quite simply, this is just going to be going over the top like that there. It's going to be held in with DM screws. Just seeing the amount of detail we've got just putting this little cylinder block together, I already can anticipate this is going to be a very detailed engine. Here's the second DM screw going in. Perfect. And then we're just going to do the same on the left hand side. So that's going to go on top. And again, DM screws to hold those both together. There we go, that's perfect. The engine's already coming together now. Now we've got the oil sump cover that looks like that. That's going to be going on this side here. Again, we have got some locating holes to put these in. It's going to go in just like that there. And it's held in with 2 EM screws. Excellent, so that's in. I then want to take the drive pulley. Just so you know, this is metal. Everything I've been putting in at the moment is metal, apart from that plate there. This is just going to be going over this little section here. So you do have a little locating lug, which is a square there. It's going to go on like that. Held in with an EP screw this time. And there we go. That's in like that. And now I'm going to be closing that off by putting the top of this pulley on. It has got a notch in it. The notch needs to go towards the notch on the top there. And it's just a case of pushing that in. So it's one solid piece. The last thing I've got is this really tiny cap here. I am going to, tiny parts, always put in some glue. Don't want to lose this. This is the oil sump cap. It does take some manoeuvring, this one. I'm giving it a soft hammer there. Always like to use my hammer. It has got a rubber end, just so you know. I know a lot of people think I'm just whacking that with a metal hammer. It's got a rubber end on that one. But that's in just like that, and that's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 7, as you can see here, we're going to be assembling the gearbox and fitting the shifter linkage. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is taking the bottom of the gearbox. Make sure you put this in the right way so the curve section there is facing down. And get this DM screw in. There you go. That looks good. I'm then going to be putting the rear of the gearbox in again. This is metal. That's just going to go in there like that. Once again held in with a DM screw. And get that nice and tight as well. Lastly, I just need to piece that all together with the other metal side of the gearbox just going on top. Just like that. And again, 2 DM screws to hold that together. We've made that whole gearbox quite quickly there. Finally, the last thing to do is put in this shifter plate here, which is just going 2 lugs into these 2 holes. I'm just going to check the fit. It is a tight fit, so it's not going to need glue. And that sits in just like that. All we've got then is these linkage cables to go in. These look very delicate. The first cable I've got is the shorter cable here. It's going to go into this hole here. Just like that. The second cable is going into the back hole. Here. And then we're going to be putting this end, which has got a tab on it, through the one we've just put in. And then into that shifter plate. Probably find it easier to put it through one first. And then put it into the plate there. So that they're both together. And that is all there is to do in that stage. In stage 8 here, look at these. These are really big packs. We've got the bell housing to do. And I'm going to take this side of the bell housing looking like that. And this bracket here. And that's just going to go through the slot that we can see in the side of this, like that there. It's going to be held in from the other side with a DM screw. The way things are going, I think we're going to have a whole engine completed in one pack. Pretty amazing. Don't go too hard on that because you don't want to break the plastic. We then want to take the gearbox that we've just been working on, having it this way round with our holes at the top here. The bracket on my left, this is just going to be going in here like that. Held in from the other side with DM screws again. This time, I am going to use my bigger screwdriver I've got here. Gives me a lot more control. And it does ensure a really tight fit when I put it in. This is no different to the screwdriver I'm using, apart from the size. Whereas the one I was using was a PH0, this is just a PH1. And it tends to have a thicker handle, which is why it's easier to provide more torque to these screws. On this side of the plate, which is eventually going to go over the bell housing here, we're going to be putting the starter motor in. That looks just like this, and as you can see, there is a tab at the bottom, and it's going to fit over just like that, held in again from the underside with an AP screw. That's in nice and tight. And as I said, this is just going to follow the shape of this bell housing. It's going to go on top like that, held in with DM screws. And this time, one at the top, one at the bottom. We've got this top to put onto where the starter motor was here. That just clips over the top like that. And then we've got the starter coil, which is this little section here, just going on this smaller one here. Again, I'm checking the fit as I push them in, because I don't want these coming out when the engine's in the car. So if they do hold themselves, as you can see, like that, I won't worry about gluing them. Just putting that to one side, we've got a fuel pump and bracket to put on, which is just these 2 parts here. Again, there is a notch inside this one, so when I put it together, it should be a nice flush fit. Bringing over the engine block we've just been working on, we're going to be mounting this to that. It's just going to go into the hole here. We have got a locating lug on this side, so it's going to fit in just like that there, holding itself as you can see, but it is held in just with a DM screw from the outside. and get that nice and tight. Now I've got this little nipple going to go on the end here, and again I think this is the time that I am going to put some glue on this, because this is normally the time that something will fall off later on. Don't want that to happen. But that's on like that. You can see what I mean about these fiddly bits. Now the oil filter here, which has got some details on it already, that's just going to go over this point here with those details facing outwards. So this way round, just push that on. Quite a tight fit, that one. I've got some linkage here, which is going to go into the bracket that we put in facing outwards. So it's going to go in here like this. Now I don't think this moves. Let's get it all the way in. It is a tight fit, so again, I'm not going to need to glue this. Now, according to the instructions, I should only have one of those. Look, I've got a spare one. We're not using that. Another massive part. Look, stage 9. We're actually going to be installing the cylinder heads. So we want to take the top of the cylinder head, looking like that with the arrow pointing this way here. And then I'm just going to take the plate, which is stamped with an L, and that's just going to go in here, this way round, like that. It's going to be held in from the other side with an EP screw. Got that here. Plastic screw. Well, it's a metal screw going into plastic. There you go. So, one. When you're going into plastic, only hand tight, remember. You don't want to strip the threads. It's going into metal. Have it your way and go as tight as you want. But plastic, yeah, you really got to resist the urge. Looking like that. Again, I want to take the left side here. There's an arrow on this side. Again, we want the arrow to be facing that way. So that's just going to go over the top like this. And once again, EP screws from the other side to hold that in. They're just going at the ends now. And then we're just going to rinse and repeat on the other side. So again, this one says R. Make sure it's the right way round. So it's going in this way. And again, EP screws to hold that in from the other side. And then once again, we've got an arrow on this side. We want it to be following the same direction as the arrow in the center. That's going to help you out with that. Once again, just 2 EP screws to get that in. Now I need the left exhaust manifold. You can tell that because it's got a nipple just on the top of it. So this is the left one here. This is the left side because the arrow's on my left. This is just going to be going over the top of these 2 points here and here, like that. Going to be held in with DM screws. It is good as this part holds itself in for me, which is quite good. And then just the same on this side here. There is a stamp on the outside of this manifold that says GM. Quite simply, I'm just going to do exactly the same on the other side. So again, we'll have that GM facing outwards and DM screws to put that into place. I've now got this bracket to put in. That's just going over the holes just here. Kind of like that. Held in with FP screws. Kept that loose just so I can line up the second one. And then just make sure that's in nice and tight. Now, I don't intend on taking this dipstick out. This is just going to be going into the hole that we got at the top just there. Now, I don't want it to break off. And I'm just checking if it needs glue. Can I hold it? I can hold it. So I'm not going to glue that into place either though. It's going to go in just like that. Now this is the fuel injection assembly. This is what we created in the first pack. You will notice I've got a nipple just down on that side there. I'm going to put some glue just on that nipple. This is extra thin glue, just so you know, because I've got a pipe to put on, which come in this stage. So get it over the top and just wiggle it on and get it all the way down like that. And with that done, quite a lot done in that stage, but that is all there is to do in this stage. Stage 10. Got in here. So much stuff going on the workstation here on my new work cutting mat. We're going to be doing the air meter to the fuel injection unit. And as you can see, they gave us some tweezers in this one. Some little tiny parts in here. So I'll open this carefully. I'm going to use my own tweezers for this because the first thing I want is this tiny bracket here. That's just going to be going on the top of this nipple, just there like that. On the underside, you will notice I have got another nipple, which is going to be taking this bracket, which I'm holding in my hand here. And I'm going to push that into place. It's a fiddly pie, isn't it? I am going to put a little bit of glue in this hole just here, because I've got a choke valve to put on, which looks just like that. And that's just going into the indent just on the side. Now again, bringing over the injection unit, you can see where this is going to go. It fits the shape just onto here, like that. And it's going to be held in with an AM screw just down the centre there. That was quite fiddly, but that is now in. And then we've got this cap to put on. One of these lugs is slightly thicker than the rest of them, so that will dictate which way round it goes. And it's just a push on. It sort of tilts itself down, as you can see there. So again, I'm going to use a little bit of glue here. I'm going to put it into this D-shaped hole that I've got just at the edge, because I'm going to put the throttle linkage into there now. This all comes as one piece. We haven't got to assemble this, which is handy. And there we go. That's the throttle linkage in. And then the bottom of this linkage, as you see, you've got this little section here which has got a lug on it. I'm going to need my tweezers for this to get this in. It's just going into the hole at the bottom of the base here. So I'll get this in, show you what this looks like. Make sure we put it in the right way as well. There you go. So that's now in like that. Now I've got another long hose to put in, and you know what I say about hoses? Always going to use glue for this. That's just going onto the nipple on the end here. So I'll get that one on. All the way. And then a bit more glue just onto the nipple here. And put the smaller hose just onto this one. Make sure it goes in all the way. Perfect. Now you've just got to put this short fuel pipe in place, which I'm just doing now. Again, not the easiest thing to get in. There we go. That's the first one in. And then the long fuel pipe here is just going on top of this section here. Again, I'm going to put some glue just into this hole at the top. And press this into place too. Make sure that goes all the way down. And that is all there is to do in that stage. In stage 11, look at this. It's packed. And this time, really lots of fiddly things. Okay, we're going to be doing the intake manifold fitting, fuel pipe and hoses. You know, I do find these fiddly stages quite therapeutic. Don't know why. I'm just strange, I guess. Okay, so I want to take this metal plate here from the intake manifold. Just hold that down. I've got some parts to put on this. I've got the first lug to put in. It's going to go on the end over here. It's going to be held in with an FM screw. And get that in nice and tight. We are going into metal. Now this is the water pump here. It has got a keyhole pattern on this side, which is going to match the keyhole that we've got there. So just align that. Perfect. And that's going to be held in with an EP screw from the other side. We can put that to one side while I'm just going to get the injection distributor looking like this. Going to push the filter onto this thicker nipple at the top. Again, I'm just going to check the fit. think I'm not going to risk it. I am going to put a bit of glue just on that and push that on. So there you go, looks like that. I'm then going to take the main top of the distributor and the ignition coil here. That's just going to go on the edge here. Again, I just want to check the fit for this. This is going on quite tight, so I won't be gluing this one. There you go. So that's one piece now. And then this is going to go on what we've just created this way round. So when it sits on, get this in place, there is a notch in these two bits. So when you put it down, if it's not going all the way down, just rotate it slightly so you can get a nice flush fit. So that's one complete unit now. Now I want to take the shortest hose we got, which is 32mm, just measuring that on my board, no problems. This is the one. Again, it's a hose, so I'm going to be putting some glue on this. That's just going onto the silver filter here. And I'll just rock that into place. I'm then going to be putting this distributor onto this board here. It's going to go on just like that. And I've got one more lug to put in place, which is going into the two holes just here. And again, this is just a push-in, which is seated perfectly there. Now I want to take the fuel injection unit, and as you can see, we have got some holes at the bottom. This is going to be going on the top, matching those holes, just like that. And it's going to be held in with DM screws. So 4 of these to put in. So I'll get these in and show you what that looks like. Look how detailed that is. Wonderful. Okay, just lie that down like that. Now I now have this long chromed fuel pipe to go in. Now one side is going into this side over here. There's a hole just there. I am putting some glue in this. So I'll get that in. And the other side is going to be going into the bottom hole of this section just here. Again, I'll push that in. Don't think I'll need glue this side. It should fit perfectly. I want to take the fuel filler tube and this pipe here. These two bits are going together. Again, I'm going to check the fit. This fit's quite firm in here. Again, no need to glue this. As you can see, that's just going to be going into this hole just here. Now, it is shaped, but it's going to go in kind of like that. The top of this is going to go into the hole just above where we just put the last one. So what I'll do is I'll affix this in place first. It's held in from the underside with a DM screw. So that's fitted that side. I am going to put some glue just in the hole on here, just to help me attach this top section. And again, push that in, hold it for a second, and there we go. Very neat. Look at that. Love it. Now we'll put some more glue in because we've got another pipe to put in a hole here, and also the hole just here. It looks like this. So I'll get one side in here, push that in. And the other side into the base here. So that's in like that. Make sure it's sitting in there flush. I now need the next shortest pipe, which is 37mm. You can see why I'm putting glue on everything now. That's going onto the nipple just here. Hopefully you can see that, and I'll get this pushed on. Get my tweezers to help me just push that on. There you go, all the way. So that one's on. And we can put this whole thing to one side. So much detail in one box. Okay. All I need now is this filter here, and I've got a couple more pipes to put on. We've got a 54mm pipe, which is going to go on this side again. Just put that in a bit of glue and push that one on. And then the last pipe we've got, which is a 42mm, is just coming off the nipple just at the bottom here. Far too many nipples for a Friday. So that looks like that. Now we need this engine block assembly with the arrow on, and again make sure that arrow's towards our left there. And what we've just created is just going to go into the hole just here. So it's going to go this way round. I'm going to see how this fits. It can only go in one way because it has got a tab, and I am just going to tease it into place just with my rubber hammer here. Just get that all the way down like that. It's nice and flush in there, it's not moving. And that is all there is to do in that stage. Stage 12, look, check out all these pulleys and some more of the engine block here. Massively long packs. Folks, first thing I want is these pulleys that are labelled 6 and 4. They have got numbers stamped onto them. Now it is very clever how they go because you've got a locating lug in the middle. So when you put these together to make the pulley, they simply just slot like that. Now I need pulley 5, which has got a little tab at the top, which is just going to go into the hole on this side. So again, it's easy to help you locate that. So the pulley is getting bigger. Then this whole thing is going to go onto the engine block just here, like this. Get it round the right way. Goes around this way actually. And it's held in with a DM screw. So just get that on nice and tight. And that's the first pulley on the engine here. Now just above that, I'm going to be putting this metal part of the water pump here, which is just going to follow the shape of the holes that we've got in there. They're all held in with FM screws. So I've aligned that. I have put this into some oil. And it's 3 FM screws, 2 this side and just 1 on the other side there. Put that to one side. And again, we're taking over a pipe. And there's a tiny silver adapter in with this fan here. I need to, once again, put some glue on there because I don't want this falling off the pipe. Thread this on. And this is just going to be going into the little hole that we got just at the top there. So you're going to see me put some glue in here. Just this hole here. Excellent. And I'll press this into place. Put that to one side. We've got the fan clutch to create now. Quite simply, take these 2 sections here. Looking good. Put that over the top. It should be able to go all the way down. Take some force to get that in. But there you go, that's in. Grab the fan. And it's going to go in a certain way. We need to make sure it's aligned just like that, because the fan's not completely symmetrical all the way around. But I'm going to put that on top of this unit like that there, and hold it in with 2 AP screws. Now do make sure you have it round the right way, because the pins on the bottom of the fan may well be a different size on that clutch fan there. So you need to make sure that they do fit flush. As you can see on mine, perfectly flush there. So now I'm just going to create pulleys again. So I need number 1, which looks like this. Into it I'm going to be putting number 3. So I'm just checking which one that is. That's this one here. Make sure it rotates around so the hole clips together. And then we're going to be taking number 2. And just like last time, this has a little tab in it to make sure this all goes together as well. This one's just going to go on top of this section, once again held in with a DM screw. And get that in nice and tight. Perfect. There you go, that's in. I'm then just going to be pushing the fan into that centre pulley here. Like that. So now the fan's attached. Put that to one side. I'm now going to be taking the rear engine block, which again is metal, This is going to be going into the 2 points just here, that way round. So all the details are facing out. Once again, DM screws to hold that into place. And then we want to take the top of the engine here that we created this way round with this pipe on our left. That's just going to fit over the top of this section like that. So now that arrow that we had is actually pointing towards us. I'm going to put that together again with DM screws. It takes 4 DM screws, so I'll get this screwed in. And then I'm just going to be taking what we've created last time, and this is just going to go over the top here. See how well that fits in? That's brilliant. Instant engine. I just need to secure the front with a DM screw. I've got a hole at the front here for this to go in. Let me just turn that round. You might be able to see it underneath that chrome pipe there. That's one. And then the back hole is just behind the distributor. You can probably just see it there. Very neat engine, this one. Perfect. This is the fuel filter here. On this side of it, there's a hose that comes through, and you can see it comes out this side just here. That's going to be going on this nipple just there. So let's go and get some glue in there. Some on there. And I'll connect this in. Perfect. Now the cable that's coming from the other side of the fuel filter here, that's going to be going down onto the nipple on this section just here. So once again, I will put some glue on that. Don't want this falling out. Seen cables, pipes. I know I'm referring to these as wrong names. Now I've got this very short hose to put in. That's just going to go behind the fan. And one end is going into the orange block, and the other end is just going into a hole that you can maybe just see there. So I'll get this in and I'll show you what this looks like. Very short hose, but that's in. Can you see that? Just like that. And that is all there is to do in that stage. Look at that. That is looking pretty impressive. So stage 13, look at the pipes on here. We're going to be connecting the spark plugs and shielding cables. So again, not pipes, more on cables this time. This one's going to take a while, I reckon. So I've laid these cables out here. I've got 4 165, 115, 100mm, 195mm, 190mm. I've also got lots of spark plugs, which I'll put to one side. Some chrome sections. And some screws. You may have heard I've turned the air conditioning on because I think this is going to be stressful. It's going to be a little bit hot as well. So first thing I want to do is bring over the engine again, and this time it wants me to just remove the exhaust manifold on this side here. I think that was just put in just to keep it in place because we're about to replace it at the end of this stage, because we have got to put the spark plugs in here. Keep that to one side. I'm going to take a spark plug like this, glue the thinner side, and take the shortest cable I've got and plug that in. This is the 90mm cable. This is going to be going into the first slot just at the bottom here like this, and I'll push this in. Goes in very hard, so I'm going to use my pliers here to grab the whole spark plug and just twist it in like that so it goes in all the way. I want to take the 100mm one now, which is this one, do exactly the same thing, and that's going onto the one next to it. So once again, I'm going to clamp this in my pliers, and that'll give me extra leverage holding it here without breaking it to put this in, and just twist it as we go in like that. as you can see. Now I want 2 of the longest wires, these 165mm ones, and these are going to go into this section here, which is actually a cable shield. It's marked R for right, so it's going to go kind of like this when it's in here. You're going to have to make sure the wires are tidy in here for it to fit in together. You also want to make sure you've got plenty of excess coming out this side here, so we'll just push a bit more through. When you're happy with that, this is actually going to go onto this section just here, like that. I'm going to hold that in with a DM screw. And then once again, I'm just going to be I'm doing it in slightly different order to the instructions. I'm going to put the spark plugs on those cables that are coming out the top. And 2. And then again, using my pliers, I'll get these in. And when they're in, they should look like that. And then I want to take this lovely chrome section here. That's going to be going around about this way on the front of the manifold there, looking like that. It's going to be held in from the behind though here with a DP screw. So that looks like that. And then I can reattach this back on to the engine from where it came from. Just on this side. And screw that on. So one here. And one on this side here. Wow. That was a lot to do in just one little side there. Guess what? We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. And this time the hose that we've got here is going to go onto the nipple that I've just got there. So connect that up. And then just like last time, we're going to be putting the spark plugs and cables in. So the shortest one's going to go in this side here. I am keeping these angled exactly the same way. That's 2 in. And then once again, on these ones here, I'm going to be putting them round the chrome cable tidy. Attach it with a DM screw. Perfect. And then once again, I'll put the spark plugs just on the end of these and plug these in as well. As you can see, they're all in that side. But this time, this can actually just go on with no chrome panel. Just goes over the top. Now, before I'm just going to take out the left side I've just reattached here of this DM screw, because I do have a cable shield to put in, and that looks just like that. That's going to go onto these 2 points here and here, and then again I can reattach that DM screw. And I want to ensure that it's doing its job, so I will just tuck that wire into that cable tidy there. And just like we've done there, just for the other side here, again I'm going to take out this DM screw. So I've got another cable tidy just to put in here. And then just replace the DM screw again. Now that was a stage and a half, wasn't it? But that's what it should look like. And that's all there is to do in that stage. Stage 14. So much to do. We're going to be doing the alternator, I believe, and attaching the belts. So let's get all of this out. So first thing I need is the coil here and the raised post. So I'm going to put that in just like that. On top of this, it's shielded with the front of the coil looking like that there. That's just going to go on top this way round. And that's held in with an EP screw. Now this is great that we've got the wires attached to the rear section of the alternator here, but we've just got to line up the lug that I got there with this side. So plug that in once I've got it lined up and push that together. So now that's one whole unit. Bring over this amazing engine, which I'm scared to touch. And I want to make sure I've got a DM screw handy, because I'm going to be putting this alternator bracket here into the hole that I've just got behind the fan here. I might just have to rotate that fan round a bit to get this in. And get this screwed into place. You want to make sure the arm is above the engine there, and you can still move it because I'm going to need to do some adjustments to get that in. And the alternator is going to go behind this section here, and it's going to be attached from the front with an FP screw. So I'll do that first. I'm going to keep these screws quite loose to start off with until I get the whole thing attached. Now remember, this one's going into metal, so we want the FM screw, not the FP this time. Align the holes up at the top here. Get that in. All the way, and then make this tight. So that's the top one tight, and that's the bottom one tight. So the alternator is now in place. Now I need to take some more cable shields like this. This is the left hand side one. That's just going to go into the holes on this side. So yeah, I do have one big lug to put in, and I'm going to be screwing in the other side. So let's just get that in like this. We do want to ensure that all the cables coming from this side go into this. So I will take some time just tidying all this up now. And there you go, that's how that should look when it's in. I just need to attach that with a DM screw. That looks really good, doesn't it? And then we're just going to do exactly the same on the other side. And there we go. That's the other side completed as well. Take your time on that one. Now I just want to trim these down so they're all the same length, but enough that they can get onto that distributor there. And put the cables into place. Now there is a number order that they go in. I've actually got them in the number order here. So what I'm going to do is put them in the order as you can see on the picture on the screen here. Now a little bit of glue. I've got one cable left in this pack, which is going to go into the distributor right down the front there. And put that in that side. Right in the middle that one's going. And its partner is going onto the coil on this side. So, all of those are in. That was crazy. Now you see this hose that we've got left coming out the side? I want to feed that through the front. Now there's a nipple on the front of the distributor. There's one on the back as well. That pipe's going into the one on the back. I then want to take the top cover, because all of those cables there that we've just done are all going to be hidden now. Make sure you put it on the right way. So it's going to go on this way. And again, take your time on this one, because you need to feed all these wires in on each side. Just like this. Once you're happy with it, just push it over the lugs on each side. 1 and 2. Make sure it goes in all the way. And it should fit flush on there, hiding everything that we just created. Just that one section, just so you know, I've spent almost an hour on. Which looks really good, but you know what? You don't see it now. Oh dear. Okay, put that to one side. And I want to take the gearbox assembly now, which I'm going to hold upside down. And where those screw holes were, we do have this silver sticker just to hide those screw holes. There you go, and that goes on just like that there. And I'm now ready to attach this to the engine. So where we put this bracket before, we're going to thread that onto this section here and line up this bell housing. That's going to be held in with 2 DM screws. So one just in here and one just in the other side here. There we go. That's now one engine almost finished. We just need to take the steering pump I need to put these together. So there's a little notch on this one, which is going to match the notch on the case here. Let's get these together like this. Turn it over, and I've got a bracket to put on now. This is going to go inside the bracket, just like this. And it's going to be held in with a couple of AP screws. 2 more parts to put together here, which is going to make a pulley. Like that. And that's going to fit just on top of this section here, with the larger section facing out, held in with an EP screw. And there you go. That's in perfectly. Again, the pulley side of the engine here, which I'm just bringing over, easier to handle now we've got all that shielding on. This is just going to go into the side just here, and it's going to be held in with GM screws. And I want to take the smaller belt here and just run that round the inner channel of the fan. All 3 pulleys basically. And the large one is going around the outer channel, but this time up to the alternator as well. This just goes around this one, this one, and this one. The first one goes around this one, and this one here. And that is all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do on the engine, I'm guessing. Still got some cables to connect, but that's looking pretty impressive, isn't it? Do you realise we're at the last stage now? We've been on this pretty much all day. Okay, a couple of things. I just wanted to explain where a couple of wires go, because you should only have 2 wires left out, apart from the ones coming from the alternator. You should have this one on this side, this one on this side. I had a couple more, which I've now found where they connect to. So I'm just going to show you where I've connected them. The first one was from this fuel line here at the top. Hopefully you can see that. It goes around there. You've got the wire coming out here, and that goes into the wire that you had spare on this side. So it's just going from down here into there. Hopefully you can see that. And then on, where's the other one? There was one other wire that I needed to connect, which was on this side here. And it's the wire that's coming from this side, goes into the manifold just there. So that's all the wires. But I don't need the engine now. Let's just put that to one side. What I do need is the wheel that we made in pack 1, and I've already taken the hub out here. What I do need is the brake drum wheel assembly, which looks like that, which is just going to go into the middle of this section, and it has got a certain way around it goes. So I'm just rotating this round into the way it goes. There we go. Like that. That's going to be held in with some DM screws. So 2 of them, one here, and just one on the other side. Now I want the drum dust cover looking like that. And I do have some air scoops to put on either side. They look just like this. You've got a left one. That one says left 3. And that one says left 1. Actually, I think that might say left 2. Yeah, that one says left 2, not left 3. So one's going this side here. Get that pushed in. They've just got lugs on the bottom of them. They can only go in one way, each one. So that's the first one in. And the second one's slightly shorter than that one. But that's in as well. Once again, I need a little bit of glue now, because there's a nipple on here. You know me, I don't want to lose pipes, because we've got the pipe that comes in this stage going into here, holding that in place. And now I need to just prepare the control arm. So I've got a control arm with an L on it. The control arm here's got R on it. And then I've got 2 brackets. And once again, one's got R and one's got L. So for the left hand side one, this shaft is going to go between the wishbone joint here, and it's going to be held in either side with IM screws. Bring over the upright suspension control arm here, and this is just going to go on the top like that there, held in with a JM screw. This is a flange screw here. Get that all the way in. I've used oil and my heavy duty screwdriver here take the drum dust cover now, and that's going to go over the top of this section here. And it's going to be fitted with 2 DM screws. And then this whole assembly here is going to be going into the wheel. So it's going to drop that in like this. Keep the wire outside for now. It's looking pretty good. From the other side, we have got a washer. Let's get this washer out. Drop that in the center there. And I'm going to be screwing that in with one of these CM screws. Get that in nice and tight. I'm using my bigger screwdriver here. There you go. And that's on perfectly. Still able to turn, as you can see there. All it leaves to do is just to put the hubcap back in. It's ingenious how this wheel is going to attach. It's actually going to attach directly to the suspension, which means all we got left to do is just to do the right hand side one again, just like last time. Put the shaft in the middle and connect with IM screws. And there we go. There's the last one done. And with that tyre and the wishbone completed and the wheel and the engine, that's all there is to do in that absolute marathon pack. You know what? I'm going to give you the scores on the doors. This has taken 5 hours to film, an additional 3 hours to edit the first half because I had to actually stop the filming because my memory cards run out and just record this last stage separately. It's taken all day to do pack 2, but I mean, I'm sure you'll agree. This is absolutely amazing. Check that engine out. It's brilliant, isn't it? Excellent. Now look, if you want to get this for yourself, once again, I have put a link to the Agora Models website down here. You can get that all the way from pack 1. But I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.